Have you ever got the impression that somebody put an engine together without head gaskets? I started tearing apart this 455 Olds yesterday. I did tear it apart. I still got a few things I can tear apart. I can hammer out freeze plugs, cam bearings, stuff like that. And then at that point it'll pretty much be a bare block. Taking the heads off, the first thing I noticed, it was missing a bunch of bolts. Alright? I took the heads off, there are no head gaskets. Okay, fine, but I find it kind of weird that none of these pistons really have much carbon. Maybe somebody already took the carbon off. This is probably the cleanest piston out of all of them. I'll try not to shake the camera too much. This one looks like, you know, it's probably safe to say coolant was sitting in it at some point in time. Also, before I started tearing apart, or as soon as I started tearing apart the engine, the first thing I took off was the rockers, but that's when I noticed that one of the rocker pedestals, I don't know what these are called, it's an Oldsmobile, this one was broken. Okay, well, no use for that. And then yeah, another thing I want to show off, not too proud of it. Okay, alright, hold on. The oil pan. On the front and rear of the oil pan, it did have the rubber gaskets, but it had no gasket around the sides of it. They basically just used a bunch of black silicone. I don't know. I mean, I guess they couldn't afford head gaskets, so they can afford silicone. This oil pump actually doesn't look as bad as it did yesterday. I'm kind of late, but you see all that sludge? It was really bad. A lot of it's just dripped off, I guess. Yeah, but yeah, see all this sludge? I mean, that's just disgusting. You should have seen it yesterday. I wish I would have made a video yesterday. It was like green. It was brown, green. It was just disgusting. And then over here, see right there? See right here? Ow. Yeah. One of the connecting rod bolts, nuts. I don't know. I don't know which one it was, but you know, here's a nut. Just as an example, it was slamming into the pan. So I don't know if these pans just have that tight of clearance to where they're really dependent on having a gasket in place or what, but I probably will not be reusing this pan, which is kind of a bummer because I mean it does have kind of a shelf right here. Not all of these pans have a shelf like that, but yeah, I don't see myself reusing this pan though. That's kind of just an update on what I'm doing. I did buy some oven cleaner. I'm gonna probably go ahead and start. Yeah, I'm gonna probably go ahead and hammer out the freeze. The expansion plugs is a proper name for them, actually. Hammer out the cam bearings. I'll probably have to put the engine on the table. I'm probably not going to give you a very. You're not going to see this very well, but. Yeah, I think it's actually this hole right here. That orifice, it's got some debris clogged up in it. I've already poked a coat hanger through it. I mean, it's not that restricted, but I mean, all of that stuff has to be flushed out, or else I'm just gonna pump all that through the rest of the journals, and that's not the most efficient way to build an engine, I guess. Other than that, I mean, they don't look bad. I mean, the surfaces, I mean, you'd want to polish them, but for the most part, I'm happy with the way I'm happy with the journals. So I might go ahead and get some parts ordered just to at least get the crank in. I'm not in a super big hurry to you know, really get the engine built. I probably won't go with a very radical cam. The engine only has about maybe 8-to-1 compression. I mean, if you look at these pistons, I mean, they have a pretty gnarly dish to them. This was a 72 455 Oldsmobile, so I think on a good day they had 8.5 to 1 compression. But I'm not going to replace these pistons. I'm just not on that kind of budget right now. I will have to get new rings. I'm going to have to keep that in mind. I do like the Molly rings, but when the time comes, these bearings also in here, you can kind of see they probably replaced the bearings at some point, but they do look like they were probably crushed a little bit from probably not resizing the rods. They probably just slapped some bearings in and went on. It's not like I've never done that before, but to replace these bearings, to just have that do it again, I don't know if I see much point in that. Other than that, I mean, the surfaces around the rest of the perimeter look fine. I'm not going to take this thing to a machine shop. I'm just not on that kind of a budget. So yeah, we might just use what we have and just not dump a lot of cash into it. So yeah, hope this helps somebody. It probably doesn't.